know about that game, man. Something didn't feel right.
Yeah, did you kind of feel bad?
Because I didn't. Oh, not even a little? I did.
Really?
No.
Hi!
Leafs Nation, stand witness for Austin Lucas. Full biblical. Austin Matthews is the Leaf.
Why do I watch hockey? Stressfully, mostly.
Victory, puppies, boys! Oh my goodness, didn't that one feel kind of mean? It felt a little bit mean, didn't it? But it was good. It was good. Andreas Johnsson scored his first goal. High five. Yeah, oh, you got it.
Leafs win 4-0 over the Montreal Canadiens. All right, yeah, I do feel a little bad. Curtis McElhinney with the shutout because why not? Get this. With the shutout, Curtis McElhinney leads the entire NHL in save percentage among goalies who have played at least 15 games. A record of 10-4-1. I saw questions before this game. Hey, if Freddie Anderson is out long term, which we now know he isn't, who do you want to start for the Leafs? You want it to be McElhinney, Sparks, or Pickard? Man, before the season, I would have absolutely said Sparks or Pickard. But at this point, what is a goalie's job? Stop the damn puck! That is all he has done as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs, dating back to last season. And I said this last time that McElhinney got a shutout, but now I have to update the stat. That was McElhinney's 8th career shutout, but 4th shutout as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs, meaning that half of McElhinney's shutouts in his entire career have come in the 30 games that he has played with the Toronto Maple Leafs. It doesn't make any sense, doesn't it? Why do you watch sports, man? Hell, it's March right now. Why do you watch March Madness? McElhinney's whole story as a goaltender for the Leafs has been the living embodiment of a 16 seed beating a number 1 seed. I'll admit that Sparks and Pickard are the future, but holy cow is Curtis McElhinney the present. And I'm not even done fawning over him. I'm going to get to him a little bit later in the video because there is another mind-blowing stat. But right now we need to focus on the rest of the game where McElhinney didn't have a very hard night and the Leafs kind of dominated. First period, good hustle, relatively even game. The Leafs do look better though. Alex Galchenyuk takes a rare closing his hand on the puck penalty. Leafs go to the power play. Don't give the Leafs the power play. Mitch does one of the many Mitch things, passes it to Tyler Bozak, yawning cage. Perhaps the question of the game should be, is that the biggest save made against the Leafs this season? Bozak absolutely robbed. Oh my goodness, this is going to set the tone for the rest of the game. The Leafs are never going to recover from this. Next shift, William Nylander sniped scores. And I'm sure you've all seen the footage by now, but Nylander skates by the bench, Bozak gives him a glove tap, and then he starts to smile. Because Jake skates by, giving him this. That's just hilarious. And that's just a good hockey team having fun, which I want in March. Also good for the second unit to get a goal. Also, I'm going to say it every video until it stops being relevant, but fans around the league, Habs fans if you're watching, need to realize that the Leafs' first unit does not have William Nylander on it. It doesn't have Austin Matthews on it. Well, he's out with an injury right now. No, it never has Matthews on it. The Leafs power play is crazy hot right now, and they head to the second period up 1-0. Marlowe had a good screen in front. Andreas Johnsson getting a shot. Good on you, Bad. Early in the second period, Curtis McElhinney makes a save, hands the puck over to Dermott. Dermott! Just a Hail Mary bank off the boards, never-ending pass that ends up on Kasperi Kapanen, stickies away on a breakaway. The Finn with the finish makes it 2-0 Leafs. Now, as I just said, great speed and great finish by Kapanen. He scored the goal. Incredible pass by Dermott. He gets the first assist. But who did I say just earlier in the play? What happened just prior to Dermott getting the puck? Oh, McElhinney gave it to him. And I didn't realize this at the time, but looking at the box score, they awarded Curtis McElhinney with an assist. McElhinney got a shutout in this one and an assist, meaning he had more points than the entire Habs roster. And now this blew my mind. I tweeted, that has to be rare, right? That almost never happens, right? Ask Twitter and sometimes you receive, thanks to Hockey Freak for the hockey reference link. It says here that a goalie has gotten a shutout and an assist in the same game only 17 times since the beginning of the 14-15 season. But you might notice that a bunch of these goalies didn't actually play a full game. Brizgalov only played 8 minutes, Chad Johnson 32 minutes, Ben Bishop had a game early this season, but he didn't even reach 40 minutes. Meaning that McElhinney's performance was just the 14th time since the beginning of the 14-15 season that a goalie has got a shutout and an assist in the same game. It gets better. Out of those 14 times, Frederik Andersen has 3. His first one came January 14th, 2015, when he was with the Ducks, and it happened against the Leafs. He did it last season as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Detroit Red Wings on January 25th. And since Ben Bishop's doesn't count because it wasn't a full shutout, Frederik Andersen actually has the most recent shutout/assist performance before McElhinney, and it happened earlier this season in November against Montreal. Prior to this season, the last goalie to get a shutout and an assist in the same game against Montreal was last year, February 27th, the goalie Calvin Pickard. The last Leaf goalie to do it before Freddie Anderson was Jonathan Bernier in December of 2014. He did it against Dallas. So out of the 14 shutout/assist performances since the beginning of the 14-15 season, 5 of them have come from active goalies in the Leafs organization. Steve, let it go. It's a stupid stat. You know what? You're a stupid stat. How about that? I like weird stuff. Okay, so do you. You're watching this YouTube channel, aren't you? Last thing I'll mention about this, the team that has had this happen against them the most, 3 times, Montreal, all in the last 13 months, including 2 this season, both against the Leafs. Hockey is ridiculous. Later in the period, another Leafs power play, and Lindgren just doing everything in his power to stop everything. Later in the period, Moore with a great job to loosen up the puck. Ron Hainsey puts it on. There's an open puck. Placanis is right there. But Kapanen bangs in his second of the game, and oh boy, they're gonna review this again because hockey is ridiculous. Thomas Placanit's goaltender interference against Montreal. Question of the game, as many of you have asked, is Thomas Placanit's a double agent? What is he hiding under that turtleneck anyway? For real though, out of all the goaltender interference calls that have happened this season, I still don't know the rules, but I get this one. I think it was accidental contact, so they were right to not give Placanitz a penalty, but the puck was loose, and I think he went for the loose puck and bailed on it at the last second. Juleson did encourage Placanitz into the blue paint, but not very much. He was in the blue paint, and he did hit Lindgren. I don't hate that call. But let's be honest, probably because the Leafs were already winning 2-0 and dominating the game. And plus, last minute of the second period, the Leafs have the power play. How many times I gotta tell you not to do that? Mitch Thing to Kadri tips it in. It's just clockwork at this point. Leafs up 3-0. And it is a miracle that it was only 3-0 after the second period. Charlie Lindgren absolutely standing on his brain. Leafs out shooting the Habs 26-9 in the second alone. 39 shots is too many for any goalie to face in an entire game, even a game that goes to overtime. Charlie Lindgren faced 39 shots in the first 2 periods. In fact, Lindgren faced 49 on the entire game. 7 of those 49, 1/7, I know times tables, came from Andreas Johnsson, who got like 3 shots on a single shift. He was looking so good on that line with Nylander and Hyman. I was so glad that Babcock actually took a chance. Look, it's hockey night in Canada, so it's a pretty big stage. It's against a rival. You're rewarding a guy who has been in the organization for a long time and done all the right things. Plus, there's an injury, and you're facing a team that is kind of weak right now. What better game is there to have a player have a show-me game? Well, third period, Carrick hits Hyman at the blue line. Hyman drives the net and in fact goes behind the net with the puck. Throws it in front! Too perfect. It's funny, with all the new numbers on the team, I thought it might have been Placanitz. But no, it wasn't 19, it was 18. Andreas Johnsson, the kid, gets his first career NHL goal. And was all of us. Just pure, unfiltered happiness. And Hyman hugs him. Hyman, nothing but happiness. Carrick runs in. He's so happy. Nylander, he had his back turned. And then Dermott comes in late with the puck. I'm going to include this in the Habs fans if I were you. I'm not going to pile on because I've been at the bottom of the pile that you are currently on the bottom of. I mean, you have too. This isn't new to you, but you also won the division last year, so just in case you forgot. Adam Wilde and Jesse Blake were over at the house yesterday, and we were watching the game, and I think it was Adam made a great point. These Leafs, the majority of the team, and that entire line, every Leaf that was on the ice except for the goalie, they came up together in the AHL. Dermott and Johnsson have been playing together on the Marlies all season. Carrick, I believe, was a teammate of Johnsson's on the Marlies briefly during a playoff run a few years ago. In fact, Johnsson joined the Marlies mid-playoff run a few years ago, and if I'm not mistaken, the line he played on was him, Nylander, and Hyman. And they looked really good together until he was bashed with a crazy dirty hit. The guy who hit him got 10 games for it, knocking Johnsson out cold. Didn't play in the playoffs again. It took him a while to get his feet back under him in the AHL. And Johnsson is an underdog story. If you listen to the most recent podcast, you know you gotta go and listen to that episode because the story's crazy. In 2013, Johnsson was a 7th round pick of the Leafs, 202nd overall. Scouts said he lacked the drive and he just didn't have the lungs. Turns out, freaking guy has asthma! asthma. So they fix it, and wouldn't you believe it, he's a better hockey player than people thought. And this kid from Sweden, he plays over there, he fights his way through the ranks with asthma, was just good enough to get drafted. They figure it out, he gets even better, destroys the league over there, comes to North America, gets knocked unconscious by a dirty hit, has to fight and claw his way back into NHL contention, gets into NHL contention, gets a call-up, and gets a goal. You bet it felt good for him. When a player like that, when a person like that succeeds, it feels good for the entire team. Now here's the Habs If I Were You connection. Habs fans have been telling me for like half a decade now, at least, that their AHL program sucks. I don't know exactly what you gotta do, but you gotta make your voices heard that you want frickin' change. Because it is a theme with bad teams in the National Hockey League. It is a theme with a bunch of bad Canadian teams in the National Hockey League that they identify that they're bad and do nothing to change it. And if you don't want things to change, fine by me, I'm a Leafs fan. You think I got a problem with that? The other If I Were You I would throw in there is around this time of year, you gotta take solace in any positive you can get your hands on. Charlie Lindgren, that was unbelievable. What a game. What a fantastic game. But a grim reminder from Eric Engels, tonight Charlie Lindgren is getting a true dose of what it's like to be Carey Price, forced to be superhuman. Lucky for him, he's not expected to be every game. Price is. Reminder that Carey Price has an 8-year contract that pays him $10.5 million per season that doesn't even kick in until next season when he will be 31. And the way things are going, unless he is worth every dollar of that contract, the Habs are not going to be a team worth caring about for a long time. Unless they get Dolan. I mean, the draft lottery's wild, right? Questions. If the Leafs don't sign JVR in the offseason, who could replace his role on the power play? Mason Marchment, who the Leafs just signed to an NHL contract. I'm kidding, of course, but there is just another example of the Leafs having a guy in the AHL, developing him properly. He works hard, he makes an opportunity for himself, and they reward him for it. Now, we gotta get creative, because I think we think about JVR and we're like, well, who's JVR? Who's the next one? I don't think you can do a proper job of replacing him. You can get big guys and put a body in front and tell them to do JVR-ish things, but you're not going to be able to replace them. You just got to do what any good team does when they lose a key player. Adapt. Pittsburgh's been doing it for a decade. It's not about replacing guys who leave your team with knockoffs and imposters. It's about adapting, surviving, and thriving. Even though JVR has been very good in the last few games, what the last few games have shown is very encouraging. JVR bangs in a lot of the goals. He finishes them. He gets the glory. But Marner is the straw that stirs that drink. It shouldn't be who do the Leafs get to replace JVR. It should be who gets the privilege of playing on the power play with Mitch Marner. JVR has had success this season because he plays one role extremely well. So if you're someone in the Leafs organization looking for an opportunity right now and you're not practicing tipping in pucks already, you might want to start. Will they start Sparky this week? Yeah, I think they will on the Marlies. Babcock said Freddie Anderson should be back, and that is great news no matter what way you cut it. I wanted to see Sparks get an opportunity too, but with McElhinney playing so well and with Freddie coming back, it's just not possible. How about this victory puppy? That's how you wanted me to read it, right? They look like a very good pup. I give them 67 out of 19. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your favorite color? Spoon. What are the buds? All day, and also winners of 12 consecutive games at home. And we'll end with this. Would you rather the Leafs facing an injured Boston team or the struggling Lightning in the first round? People keep asking Leafs fans that. How about you ask some Bruins and Lightning fans that? Look at the Leafs. Look how they're surviving without Austin Matthews. That seemed like a good time to you? I don't care if it's the Lightning or the Bruins. Leaf fans need to start thinking like, you know that scene in Watchmen with Rorschach in prison? I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Reminder, Austin Matthews and Frederik Andersen return Tuesday. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Got a link down below that leads to some merch that you should get. And you know what? Live your life like Andreas Johnsson smile.